Hello everybody and welcome back to Victoria, where we currently do need to attack Korea, and very soon. I was just taking a look at the diplomatic situation, and it seems that China has signed a defensive pact with Italy. Now that's not necessarily great, but as I look at this, if we go into our interactions here and we do a conquer state diplomatic play, each one of the 5 states in Korea is going to give us 20 infamy. So that's a lot of infamy, no doubt about it. But Italy would not immediately join this. They might join it, but they would not immediately join it. Now, we should probably begin improving relations with Russia. We were decreasing relations with them because we were planning on fighting them to be recognized, but we got that from Austria instead. So that's not really a problem there. We can't declare this war until our relations with China are low enough, so we're going to have to continue to tick forward and let those fall for the time being. In the meantime, of course, we're working on getting all of these barracks built. I don't expect the barracks to actually be significant for the moment, although I am very interested in potentially building any logging camps we can. We're done with those. Okay, so that's the best we can do that. Noted. So our power plants are going to be done in 3 weeks. We've got 71 total weeks on our construction queue here, so that seems fine. And yeah, we're just improving relations with Russia for now, because we do want to make not really friends with Russia, but we don't want to make enemies with Russia at this exact moment. 1% of pops becoming more loyalist and 5% enactment success chance sounds great here. So we'll happily take that. That's wonderful. We're to get these barracks done. Market access in Kansai has dropped off. We have a private construction on a railway here. Okay. So that seems like that's under control. No problem whatsoever there. So we're only building barracks at this moment. Now, war propaganda is being researched. That will be done very, very soon. And we're just waiting on our Chinese reputation to get low enough. So that'll be lowering a little bit here. There we go. And then lowering like 1 per month. Sure. So we're just raising up relations with Russia right now, who's currently cooperative with us. The US is cautious. Italy is protective towards us. So we might be forcing them to choose between China and ourselves. I suspect if we do this, Italy will declare on us. We'll see. We'll see how that ends up going. Our private constructions are ticking along nicely for the time being. We would love to get no migration controls here. Our population is continuing to grow, but taking over China, or rather, I mean, China would be great, but taking over Korea would be very useful here. No doubt about that. We're going to look to take over, like, Manchuria up over here. No doubt about that. War propaganda has now been unlocked. So at this point, I do want to be working on something along the lines of defense in depth or automatic machine guns. Both of those would be reasonable here. 26 months on each. Okay. Yep, we'll grab defense in depth for now and then automatic machine guns. So that'll be fine for the moment. Market access in Queensland has dropped slightly. Okay, I'm not too concerned about that. I don't think that'll be a big deal. So for the moment, that seems reasonably fine. It is continuing to drop. Do we eventually need a railway there? I mean, yes, we could certainly use a railway in Queensland. So do we currently have people working in the port here? It's about half. Okay. More than anything, we need people here. And that's the reason for no migration controls. Knowledge of automatic machine guns is actually spreading to us, so we don't need to have this in the queue. We're going to have this in 12 to 18 months, so that's great. We can go for something like Stormtroopers or NCO training. Probably NCO training would be what we would go for. Again, we're planning on going beyond the end of the game, and we're just going to do some conquest in the end game here, but we're not going to go too far beyond it, so that'll be fine. Barracks in South Australia are still working away. How are we doing on our cap here? Oh, we've got plenty of cap. So innovation cap is not a concern at this moment. We're still raising up our literacy. That seems fine. And we're still paying down this debt, which now that we're recognized is absolutely fine. North German Federation has established an interest in Japan. Okay. That's definitely noted. So as we can see here, our army power projection isn't super high right now. This is because we've sacked our military funds for the moment. Compared that to China, though, 3937, and to Korea, 568. As long as nobody else gets involved, it's not that big of a deal. And it's a lot closer to us than Austria was. So, there's that. We could definitely bring our military wages up to about half here, which I'm going to do. Any higher than that, and we're risking a deficit right now, but this is okay for the moment. We'll continue to pay down our debt. Actually, this is recovered nicely. So actually, we're fine to go to full military wages here. That, of course, puts us at 1209, or 1290, I should say. And we can still go to bicycle messengers if we had rubber, and we can still go to siege artillery here. Now, that's going to be expensive. A campaign of banquets, huh? Vast sums of money flowing into politics, you say. Well, it's not great, but we'll take the boost. That'll be fine. Now, we're currently possibly going to go into a bit of a deficit here, but we'll see. Yeah, I'm not shocked about a deficit here. Did I queue up this railway in Queensland? I thought I canceled it because... Nope. Nope, that was a different location because of a private construction. It's fine. No major concerns there. So I would very much like to go to siege artillery. It is expensive, but that would be a lot of army power projection. We would require ammunition, and we would require artillery. I think for the time being, we don't do that right now, although I would also love to go to bicycle messengers. The lack of rubber would be too much there. We really don't have a source of rubber at this moment. Getting some down over here would be great. So we'll see what we can do about that. Can we attack the Philippines out of curiosity? Potentially. We could potentially attack the Philippines. For now, I want to continue to work on these barracks. We should be done with them fairly soon. And there's actually some naval bases that we can build in Hokkaido. Let's get those queued up. Those would have been removed from the rebellion. So that seems okay. We're still waiting on China's opinion of us to drop a bit here. But we're cruising our way through these barracks, Western Australia, Northern Territory, and then we're on naval bases. So we're very close to done with the barracks. Not that these are going to all be trained, by any means. That'll take some time. That's for sure. And that's okay. We don't mind that. No migration controls is looking like it's going to pass. It's just a question of when. And that would be good. This trade route for opium is inactive. Okay. That's fine for now. Opium is going to continue to be a problem for us, of course. Are we currently running field hospitals? No, we are not. Okay. So for now, that'll be a bit of an issue for us. Our recovery rate is going to be low. We just don't have a source of opium. We don't have a source of rubber either. We're going to work on getting, eventually, both of those. So that'll be fine. Russia has sided with the Philippine aristocratic revolt, and Italy has sided with the Philippines. That's interesting. If Italy is fighting Russia, they might not be so interested in doing anything about this situation here. That would be great. We would love it. So we're going to be done with our barracks quite soon here. How many pages in total do we have? 10 pages? Okay. And we're building approximately 1 page per day. These Western Australia ones are going to be a little tougher due to radicalism. Fair enough. We need to attack basically as soon as we can at this point. So we would attack just Korea for the moment, and we cannot do this yet because we need this to drop below Cordia. We got an advance here. 1% becoming more loyalist sounds great. We'll happily take additional loyalists. Not that it's huge jumps, but yeah, we'll happily take that. So that's okay for now. There's a lot of radicalism, no doubt about that. Most of them are politically uninclined. Okay. There's a revolution to preserve migration controls thanks to the unions and the petite bourgeoisie. I don't think this is going to go anywhere, but it is going to give us significant radicalism. So for now, we'll just have to let no migration controls pass. That, of course, means we don't want to attack until this is dealt with. But we can't attack at this moment anyway. So hopefully no migration controls cruises through on the next 2 ticks. That would be the ideal scenario. We'll see what happens with that. So our railway in Queensland is still continuing here. Low standards of living is a significant issue at this moment, and we would love to bring our standard of living up further. The question right now is, why is their standard of living currently low? They are receiving some welfare payments. They pay 25% of their income in taxes. That's probably a big part of it, to be honest. So we'll get that dealt with. That'll be absolutely fine. I want to get these barracks finished up. That's the current goal here. We've got about 8 pages of barracks left. Excellent. So this railway in Queensland will be done shortly. Tears of the Ivory Tower, huh? We'll let this go up by 10%. That's okay for now. No migration controls should pass through here, I hope. That would be, fingers crossed, the ideal here. So we'll see what ends up happening there. Now, we could go up to higher level workplace safety office. I think that's a good idea. We absolutely should be doing that. I would also like to boost up our social security a bit further, but we're maxed out on that for the moment. So for now, this will have to do. Western Australia is nearly done constructing its barracks. And then it's just Northern Territory. What is the current construction efficiency there? It's about the same. Okay. So it's going to be a little slow. That's fine. And then naval bases, which I'm not super concerned about the naval bases at this time, but this'll do. So we're reasonably positive right now. This is fine. We'll continue to pay off our debt a little bit. It's not a big deal. Partisan papers. What do we got going on here? Momentum to the Constitutional Reform Party or paper mills building throughput. We're going to take the paper mill building throughput. Thank you very much. Paper is one of our larger expenditures, so that would be absolutely great. Market access in Western Australia has dropped, and we should probably do something about that. Yep, we're going to get that going. Phenomenal. So Lob has progressed to Ascent here. That's great. Sowing Discord? That's rude. We could give them some concessions and appeasement. Yeah, we'll do that for now. So no migration controls is actually quite important to us that this ends up happening. We're currently at cordial with China, and we're going to look to push through there pretty soon. I want no migration controls to be finished. That would be great. And the barracks in Western Australia are 5 weeks away from being fully done. Apparently 66 weeks away on the construction queue overall. I don't know how real that really is. I don't think that's... that might be accurate. Maybe. So the Imperial Way Party has won. The question is, if we reform the government here, that would put the shogunate in power, and we don't want that. We're going to chill on Unacceptable Government 43 for the moment. We need to get the Honorable Restoration done, ideally before the end of the game, right? And at this point, we can, I think, get this done before the end of the game. End of the game is technically in like 4 years. We're 65% of the way through here. I'm pretty sure that we were on pace to do this. Oh, but we need to not have insurrectionary interest groups. Right, we're not actually getting progress while this is happening. They're very rude. Very, very rude indeed. Okay, we need to pass no migration controls, and it needs to happen now. I don't know, this might delay us longer beyond the end of the game. I'm not sure if there's an achievement for it. If there is, and this happens beyond the end of the game, we won't get the achievement. It's not a big deal. I'm not going after any specific achievement here, so that's absolutely fine. I'm not concerned about it, but we'll see if it happens before the end of the game. Which, again, we're planning on going beyond the end of the game for a little bit anyway. So that'll be absolutely fine. How are we doing for our power projection right now? Yep, that looks good. I want to finish up all of these barracks, and I want to finish the naval bases eventually. The naval bases will finish pretty quickly, though. So the barracks in Northern Territory, how many pages are left here? 5 pages? We're definitely making progress there. We're down to neutral with China, so we can declare this whenever. We're hoping that no migration controls just passes straight on through. We've got a 54% chance of it. That would make the revolution go away. That would be wonderful. We'd be very, very happy about that. After that, we could potentially think about changing our government, but realistically, it's probably not a thing. We'll try to coax some back here. That's fine. We can lose some bureaucracy. I don't care about a little bit of bureaucracy at this moment. But let's get this no migration controls done so that hopefully we can get a lot more people migrating into these areas. That would be really, really good. Okay. Some of them might migrate out of some of these areas. I don't know. We'll see. We've got a bunch of jobs available, of course, in those areas. There we go. No migration controls. So that looks great. At this point, we would look to pass, or rather, we'd look to attack one of these. Now, this is going to bring up our infamy significantly. We'll see who's interested in joining this. For the moment, they're all in the neutral column. No one would be interested in helping us, although we're not surprised about that. Let's work our way through building these barracks. By the time this war breaks out, it's going to be pretty close to being done there. Hopefully nobody actually... Yeah, China rivaled us. No shockers there. Hopefully no one will actually join this. We don't want Russia to. We don't want Italy to. These guys are still fighting each other, right? We don't want the US to do this. So for the moment, we're being a little bit slow here. We're letting this drop down. We're going to add in additional war goals here, but we're going to wait until this goes significantly through. There will be a delay from adding the war goals, but we're just going to let our infamy tick down right now. And because if we declare on all of these, we'll be at 100 infamy, right? But it's already dropped by 0.7, so we're not going to go over 100, but we're going to have... We're going to make some enemies from this. No doubt about it. We are going to make some enemies here. And that's okay. So these barracks are getting very close to being done. We're down to 3 pages of them. That looks excellent. Market access in Queensland and Western Australia is currently low, but I want to check in. Yeah, migration is definitely a little bit ramped up, I think, especially down here in Victoria. Yep, that looks good. So for now, that's completely okay. We're going to just let these barracks finish up. Okay, so we can see that this is ticking down here. We could actually sway Russia here. That's interesting. Russia would take it with return state. I don't want to give Russia a state. If we can do this without anyone else joining, that's great. We'll sway Russia if we need to, but I don't think we need to. So we want this to be, it's currently at 76, 77, 78, 79. Okay, so this is now 1 day away from ticking into the lock-in. This is going to delay it, so they're going to have a chance to respond to this, but we're going to add in Conquer State, and this is going to be basically all of Korea here. We can't get anything else, but we are going to add these on in. Now, this is going to be a lot. A lot of infamy here. But that's why we waited. So now we're at 98.6. People are going to be pretty salty at us for that. And there's going to be a delay here. Escalation will be paused for 20 days. Russia would not join this. Russia is actually currently leaning the other direction right now. US changes their relations to us. They're currently domineering. To that end, I would like to improve relations with the US. Okay, we've got 10 days here. The US sided with China. Well, that's rude of them. That's very rude. So they're a great power number 2. We are going to immediately come in and crank up our siege artillery as well as bicycle messengers. Now that's going to put us in a big old deficit here, and that's not shocking. We're going to ramp up our taxes a little bit to help deal with that. And we're going to need to get ourselves some rubber, right? Rubber is going to be a significant issue, so we'll try to import whatever rubber we can. Literally any rubber that exists, we're going to import. Okay. So that looks good for the moment. And I'm going to mobilize all of our armies. This is going to get very expensive, for the record. I was hoping the US wouldn't join. Unfortunately, they did. But we're going to mobilize all of these, and we're going to also mobilize our conscripts. So this is going to get expensive. Okay, so conscripts are underway here. And we're going to wait for this to happen here. So they're currently cocky. Yeah, I'm not shocked about that. So escalation is currently paused, and rubber and artillery, yes. So I do want to work on some arms industries here. In Kanto, or actually in Chubu, let's bring this up to +20, and we'll call that good for right now. Cool. I do, however, want to check here. Okay, we're still working on this railway. Let's prioritize that, and then let's get that going like so. Cool. So, we don't have to go nearly as far as we did previously. Unfortunately, the US joined in on this. That's very rude of them. Very, very rude indeed. We're at 15,398 for our army power projection. Compare that to the US, which is at significantly lower army power projection. That's fascinating. No one else is going to join this. And at this point, we are going to immediately, as soon as this war actually breaks out, we're going to immediately begin several invasions of Korea. We're going to do 5 separate ones. So, we're going to immediately launch a naval invasion of this. And we're going to grab this guy. We're then going to do a naval invasion here. Hang on. Nope, I'm right. Never mind. This is fine. For a second there, I thought that I had chosen something incorrectly, but no. Okay, so we've got naval invasions going on 3 of these right now. And then 4 and... let's see here. Okay, there's one more that I want to do here, and this goes... let's see, we've got Gwanbuk, we've got Yongho, we've got Gyeonggi, we've got Yongso. We don't have this. Okay. So we would invade right on down over here. The rest of our forces are going to be held in reserve for the time being, in case the US decides to invade us. The Voice of the Nation, huh? Yeah, that's a cool anthem. Excellent. We can definitely crank our taxes up so that we have less of a deficit. We can also put in a luxury furniture tax. Technically, we're turning a... we were briefly turning a profit there. Do we want to ramp up our legitimacy? Actually, it's about as good as it's going to get. We're going to be running low legitimacy for the time being. And of course, we're not at peace, so this is not progressing. Okay. For now, that's fine. We're hoping to crush Korea nice and quickly here. China's the war leader, and we'll see what ends up happening here. But for the moment, this is looking reasonably fine. So we're going to be launching our attack here in 2 weeks. In 15 days. Cool. So we're going to pretty much instantly overrun Korea. That's the idea here. They are not going to be able to hold all of this for sure. We can't be dropped below 0 because neither our capital nor the following war goals are being occupied. So for now, that seems reasonably okay. The US has launched a naval invasion against South Australia. Okay. We're probably going to have to send somebody down over there. We'll see how that ends up going. And of course, we're fighting up over here. So yeah, we are heading on in to invade Korea. Looks great so far. The real question is, how is this invasion going to go? So they're going to win this attack down here, but we're going to send some forces over. We are about to finish up defense in depth, which will be very, very useful for us. No doubt about that. And we're currently winning this attack onto Korea. We're going to have a bunch more attacks onto Korea here. We're attacking every single one of those locations. We're currently losing this naval battle up over here. Okay, that is noted. And let's get Korea fully under our control. Any moment now. Defense in depth has now been unlocked. That is very, very good for us. And we're actually losing... no, we're winning this battle. We're losing this battle? That's awkward. We are losing some of these invasions, but we're going to get at least one of them happening here. This invasion out over here, we are, of course, losing, which is to be expected. That is deeply unsurprising, Deeply, deeply, deeply unsurprising. And most of our fleets are currently tied up with these invasions, right? So that's fine. We now have a successful landing here. We're pushing in here as well. We're getting pushed out here, but that's okay. So at this point, these guys are advancing here. These guys failed their invasion, but let's see what's going on over here. Okay, I want this force to absolutely come down over here and advance this front. So we're definitely going to have to come in here. That'll be fine for the time being. And we need additional forces out over here, right? So we need to wrap up these battles. I don't want to use any of these forces here. We just need to wrap up these existing battles. So we're going to finish up this attack here. Yeah, Korea wins that one. But there we go. We've got a second battle won here. Perfect. And now this guy should come over and advance this front. That'll take him a few days to get there. And we're winning this battle as well. So that looks good for the moment. As far as this fight down over here goes, that's going to take them a little bit to chip through. And we're going to be arriving here shortly. I'm actually going to send this force down here as well. And then we'll leave these two to defend our home islands for the time being. So we arrive up here with some additional forces. They have a lot here, actually. That's interesting. I'm surprised that we're negative here right now, considering just how bad China's forces are. I'm quite surprised by that, but that's okay. So we're going to hold this down over here eventually. We should be fine on this front, although the US does have a lot of forces underway here. Let's actually send these guys and these guys down as well. Okay, so that'll be fine for the moment. This naval invasion is still happening at this moment. So we are going to successfully cut them off here, aren't we? I think so. Yes, we are going to successfully cut them off here. Looks good. They're moving their forces around because they don't have anything to defend up over on this front. So that looks good. All of our forces are currently engaged. And we're just moving additional units in over here. So we're actually winning this defensive attack. That's great. We're very happy that we're winning that defensively. And the question now becomes, when are they going to be interested in exiting this war? Well, for now we're losing this battle, and that's not shocking considering how many forces they have here. Civilizing mission has finished. Looks good. So we might end up switching over to a defensive footing and letting them exhaust some of their manpower here. We have significantly better troops, but they have a lot of troops, right? So we'll see how that ends up going, but for now, this is definitely very interesting. So this battle here, we are winning. And we're going to be looking to push the US out of here. So they've got 3 days until additional forces arrive here. Looks good. The US is, of course, sending more forces over. And we're currently winning this naval battle. That looks great. This we're losing just due, I think, to sheer numbers of forces. These numbers aren't great, that's for sure. How are we doing on NCO training right now? And how close are we to those automatic machine guns? Because those would be nice. We're 10 to 15 weeks out on it. Okay. Noted. So none of the forces over here are actually American forces, which is intriguing. No doubt about that. We should probably swap over to a defensive footing over here then, and just look to dig in and exhaust their forces on us. So we have significant defense in depth advantage at this moment. We're going to have to wait for these battles to wrap up, and then we're going to let them attack us, is the idea. They'll take significant losses, and that should, in theory, be good. We cannot be dropped below 0 still. And they can be dropped below 0. So this should be reasonably fine. We're losing this battle, and losing this battle as well. That's a little sad. Why are there 2 battles here? Is this a second naval invasion? That might be a second naval invasion. Okay. Well, for the time being, we need to let these battles wrap up. So this one has a little ways to go, so does this one. Keeping an eye on them. Anytime they wrap up would be good. Okay, this battle's over. So we need to swap over to a defensive footing here. There we go. And this battle is still ongoing here. It'll be done shortly. Peace deal proposed. This is very strange. So this would be liberated into a separate country. They would humiliate us, but we would also get Korea. I mean, that's probably worth the trade. But I think we can get a better deal out of this. I suspect that we can get a better deal out of this one. So I want to swap these guys over to a defensive footing as well. I want to be being attacked here, ideally. We have significantly stronger defense than we have attack, right? So let's let this battle end, and we're going to swap over to defend front here. We're going to force them to attack into our prepared defenses, and we can start having battles like this one. And this one. So that looks much better there. And then down this direction, as far as this goes, I believe this is a second naval invasion here. And yeah, we're going to lose this battle. That is expected. We need to let this end. Any moment now. Any moment now. Okay, so that battle ends, and we're going to swap over to defensive footing here. Why is there a second battle here? I'm not sure why two battles existed here. Okay, so for the time being, we are going to be just absolutely digging in here and crushing any attacks that they try to launch into us. That's our goal. We have defense in depth, so it should be reasonably good here. I can't move these guys over yet because of this. I think this is maybe a naval invasion. But there were definitely two battles that broke out on this front, which is unusual. No doubt about that. So at this point, as a hypothetical, if we were to just try to press everything, minus 54 reasons. That's not that many reasons, actually. We need to let this battle end. And we just want to take up defensive footing here. I think that's very, very clear. We just take up defensive footing, force them to attack into us, and they will have a very hard time doing so. As long as we have prepared defenses. So, we're going to swap you over to defend front. And there we go. So now they're going to be attacking into us in all of these regions, and we should have significant advantages, particularly in Korea for that. They can't drop us below 0, so we're just going to let them continue to drop down in war support. And this seems fine. It is past time to put a cut in here, but I kind of don't want to while this war is raging. We're winning this defensive battle, so yeah, I think we just dig in. We're winning this defensive battle. We are losing this defensive battle. And I think that's just due to sheer force of numbers, but, I mean, look at the number of demoralized that the Chinese are getting here. And yeah, we can see they're levying huge numbers of forces against us, which isn't shocking. That's not shocking at all. So 32 reasons to accept this right now. That's ticking along nicely. So we're winning this defensive battle against the Americans. Looks good. This battle here is the problematic one. That's for sure. That said, they're going to suffer huge, huge losses from this. No doubt about that. Our workplace safety office just went up to 5. They are offering us the same peace deal again. Again, I'm not willing to take it yet. They're going to drop below 0 very, very soon here. So I think this is absolutely fine. I think we just dig in and we stretch this out and prove to them that it's going to take them a lot to get through these lines. This, of course, we're going to lose just due to sheer force of numbers, but that's fine. So this is going to go away in 8 days, and they're negative right now, so we can probably just demand what we want. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, rejected. Okay. 5 reasons to not accept this. The US would accept it. Okay. So 5 reasons to not accept it. Are they now into it? 4 reasons? Okay, I was just checking to see if that battle would do the trick. It did not. So for the time being, yeah, they're going to ultimately win this. Apparently I'm getting a Steam notification. That's fine. I'll deal with that later. They're ultimately going to win this battle, but at this point they would accept peace. So we propose peace deal with just taking Korea away from them. Beautiful. So we get Korea and we lose nothing. Wonderful. With that, it's past time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we're going to start integrating Korea. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Shadow Wolf, Andy McGar, Spartan News, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12 UK, Kentogan, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.